In this special installment of Complexities of Language, I am going to analyze the wording of YouTube's new Made for Kids settings. I am doing so because I found the use of the phrase made for terribly confusing, and if I, with my master's degree in English, found the phrase confusing, then it is highly likely that many other content creators have found the phrase confusing as well. My hope is that by the end of the video, we will all have a better understanding of what on earth YouTube means by this inherently ambiguous phrase. And if not, well, at least we will have a better understanding of why YouTube would have been wise to choose their wording more carefully. Okay, let's begin. Complexities of Language! With your language expert, Wolfgang Wright. So here are how the new settings are worded at the channel level within YouTube. Obviously, at the video level, they're slightly different, but that's not important because I think we can safely assume that with each use of the phrase made for, YouTube means the same thing, or at least for the sake of this video, we are going to assume as much. Thus, we need not analyze all instances in which the phrase is used, but can instead concentrate on the phrase itself. Now here we have 4 different sentences in which the words made and for appear. The last one, of course, has been taken directly from YouTube's new settings. Now, you might think that the meaning of the words made and for in one of these sentences is similar, if not identical, to the meaning of those same words in one of the other sentences. But therein lies the confusion, because in fact, those words may mean something very different from one sentence to the next. In the first sentence, for example, made for means something like made a move in the direction of. Clearly, this use of the phrase is an outlier from the rest, insofar as anyone with even a tentative grasp of the English language would not confuse its use with the use of the same phrase in the other sentences. That's because this use of the phrase connotes physical movement, whereas the use of the phrase in all of the other sentences has something more to do with the mind. Thus, I think we can safely say that YouTube was not using the phrase in this manner. This same safe assumption, however, cannot be said of this second use of the phrase. For here, the issue at stake is the subject's intentions. The subject I intends to do something. What does he intend to do? He intends to make a toy in order to give it to his son, presumably so that his son can play with it. If this is what YouTube had in mind when they invented the sentence, I never upload content that's made for kids, then they could have made a setting that read, I don't make content for kids, please ensure that my content is not available to kids. Now, why YouTube didn't just do that is a bit of a mystery to me. After all, in its new terms of service, YouTube states specifically that you must be at least 13 years of age to use YouTube. So why not just ask creators whether they only want their content to appear on the regular YouTube and not on the new kids version? But whatever their reasons for not doing so, it's ultimately beyond the scope of this video. What's important here is that YouTube's use of the phrase made for has nothing whatsoever to do with the intent of the creator. I can't emphasize this enough. With regard to these new settings, YouTube doesn't care one whit about who your intended audience is. That is not what is at stake here. Nor, when it comes to these new settings, does YouTube care about whether your videos are suitable for kids or not. Because that's the meaning you see here. Made for can mean suitable for. Now, this meaning tends to be restricted to such sentences as you see here in the middle of your screen. But any parent reading the top sentence on a box of fireworks would know exactly what the phrase made for was supposed to mean. Such parents may be suspicious of such a claim, but they would know what it meant. In other words, the issue for parents wouldn't be what the manufacturer's intentions were when they made the fireworks, but whether their kids will blow their fingers off. But here again, this is not what YouTube means by its use of the phrase made for. So, just to do a quick review, when it comes to these new settings, YouTube is neither concerned with your intention as a content creator, and nor is YouTube concerned with whether or not your content is suitable for children, which obviously begs the question, what on earth is YouTube concerned with? Well, after reviewing the new policy, I've come to the conclusion that YouTube means something like, I never upload content that might appeal to kids. I am, however, not entirely certain that this is what YouTube means, because if this is what YouTube means, then YouTube should have just said this, because this phrasing is far less ambiguous. Not completely ambiguous, but far less ambiguous than using the phrase made for. True, changing the phrasing isn't going to get rid of the headache that this new policy is going to create for us as content creators, but at least we would have known right off the bat what YouTube was trying to tell us. Okay, so I've decided to end this video with something that I hope will drive home what I've been trying to say throughout this video, namely, that there are several meanings to the phrase made for, and that by using this phrase in its new settings, YouTube has created way more confusion than there otherwise should have been. In fact, given the different plausible meanings for YouTube's use of the phrase made for, you can actually wind up with the following meaningful, but very absurd, sentence. Thank you, YouTube. You've officially broken the English language. I hope you found this video illuminating. If there's some aspect of language that you'd like me to examine, please place it in the comments section below, and with any luck, I'll get to it before you become old and decrepit. Bye bye now.